I think this is the biggest update to the game yet, even bigger than the Armory update, even bigger than Protocols. To start with, there is now a campaign that ties all the missions to one another and creates a cohesive story from start to finish. Part of that is a bunch of cutscenes and segments where the characters are, well, actually talking and interacting with each other. It adds a lot of needed character to the characters. It also means that the characters get some level of introduction. It tells you who they are, what role they play, outside of them just telling you to do the next thing during the mission. And overall, it means the missions make a lot more sense as to why we are actually there. It gives much, much better context. The campaign just puts the missions in order and adds the cutscenes and stuff after the mission, so people can still drop into the mission relatively smoothly. So except for the first few missions, which were on an incredibly low difficulty because I had just started a fresh character, most of them I had a full party of randoms running through the missions with me. And that is really nice, because forcing somebody to go through the story with bots in tow would be incredibly tedious. I think the next most important change would be between this update, the last one, and the hotfix. The game is much more stable in terms of both frame rates and crashing. My 6600 XT hasn't been getting the random frame dives, and the 1% lows are just so much better, even while I'm recording. It's not the flashiest part of the update, but well, the stability is nice. It probably should have came earlier, actually. Third biggest part of the update would have to be the Arbite, which is surprisingly not buggy on release. The dog's pathing gets a little whack, but it's relatively straightforward. This Cybermastiff doesn't have collision, so it doesn't block doors, and it doesn't do anything incredibly cancerous. It doesn't get stuck on mobs. And like the AI followers, when it does get stuck somewhere it's not supposed to be, or something happens that's not supposed to happen, it just teleports back to the player after the player gets so far away or after such a duration. The auto attack on the dog is frequent enough, it doesn't seem to stay idle incredibly long, and overall, I was expecting something to break and it didn't. So, yay. Though I am going to say I ran into a few people who had bound their call out to the scroll wheel. Oh. Yeah, take it. Dude, chill. And we're hardcore spamming it on every target. And that was incredibly annoying. The devs might have to put a cooldown timer on the ping noise as well as the character voice lines, because that is just toxic. I will have to play the class more in order to figure out some more things, and I'd like to do a video doing a rundown on the class. After that, there were a ton of small buffs to weapons like the Devilclaw Sword, the Tac Axe, Shock Maul, Helbore Las Rifles, combat shotguns, as well as the heavy eviscerator. Nothing crazy, just small damage buffs across the board, and the Tac Axe and combat shotgun got some movement changes. They now accelerate quicker and let your character bounce or be a little more bouncy from what I understood. The heavy eviscerator stands out because it says they removed the damage override on the special attack, which to me sounded like they had made it not a flat number, which theoretically means you should be able to add multipliers such as weak spot damage or martyrdom buffs onto the special attack now. But in practice, it didn't seem to make too much of a difference, so I'm not 100% sure what this actually did in practice. Lastly, of the important changes, the mission board got a rework. It now just shows you missions. You select the mission, then you select the difficulty. No more, I need Hab Draco for this penance, but it's only available as a difficulty 2. No, you pick the mission, pick the difficulty. Simpler, easier, I like it. As well, they got rid of the lowest difficulty, merging it into the second lowest one. Auric is now just a difficulty after damnation instead of having it as this weird multiplier effect on existing difficulties. And you can now do Auric difficulties within the Mortis Trials, so for those who are looking for a bigger challenge there, well, now you can Auric it. That's all for now. Bye.